Hey, nope. Drop it. Drop it. Blah. You are not supposed to eat him until Ragnarok. Bad dog.
Isn't worth it.
What's going on, nerds? Let's go. Fenris Wolf is a 2 energy, 3 power card that reads Activate. Resurrect your opponent's highest power discarded or destroyed card on your side of this location. So overall impressions of this card. First thing I'll say is I am super happy that this thing just exists. It's giving support to an archetype that seems like it wants to exist, but just never really had enough support to get there. And by that, I mean like Black Bolt, Moon Knight, Silver Samurai, that sort of deck. Not too sure if Fenris Wolf is actually going to be impactful enough to make that good, but like I said, just existing is nice.
Ah, super kawaii.
Fenris Wolf will encourage some clever deck building, which is also cool. And if I had to guess, I think the 2 places that you're probably going to end up seeing Fenris is a discard deck that exchanges like Modok, Dracula, and Apocalypse. Instead you play like Stature, Black Bolt, Silver Samurai. That's where I'm going to try it first. That seems really cool. And also the second place that Fenris Wolf is probably easily going to fit in is Mill.
You don't want to be like this. This is disgusting.
You have Gladiator, Shang-Chi, Negasonic Teenage Warhead. I think Mill's happily going to play Fenris Wolf at the 2-drop slot. The good, the bad, Fenris Wolf. First thing here on the upside of Fenris Wolf is unique effect. There quite literally isn't anything in the game that is similar to Fenris Wolf, or even close, really. So if you're like watching, a content creator's deck highlight and it has Fenris, don't bother asking what you can replace Fenris with, because there's no answer. Second thing here, high ceiling. Basically what I mean by this is if this card's good, it's going to be super ridiculous. Like just say you Shang-Chi a Coal Obsidian or something, and you use a Fenris to bring it back. Fenris essentially is a 2/13. That's crazy. So yeah, the amount of upside Fenris can get you is more than any other 2-drop, I think, right? Yeah, sure. And the third upside is a new style of deck. I talked a little about this in the overall impressions, but when a card comes out that has the potential to create a whole new archetype, bring something fresh to the game, that's cool, and more options, more freedom of deck building is always a good thing. All right, on to the bad, low floor. This is one of those cards. It has a high ceiling and a low floor. Sometimes it's going to be really awful, not worth it. I mean, I guess it has 3 power, so worst case scenario, you bring back like a 1-drop that's 2 power and you get a 2/5? Sure, that's not the worst. Second point on the bad here, it's inconsistent. This isn't too much of a bad thing, but the fact that like one game it could only get you like 4 or 5 power total, and the next game it could be like a 13 power total swing. That's a little tricky. It's inconsistent, much like Cersei. Cersei's, I think, a good card, but the problem with it is you never know what you're actually going to get out of it until you enter the game, until you play the card, and until you see what the opponent's playing. And the last thing here, it's not versatile, seemingly. So like I said, the only 2 decks I could see this going into is a discard deck that shifts its end game and a mill deck. I don't think this is a good card for like just putting it in a deck that has Shang-Chi. I don't think that's very good, because a lot of the times you don't even play your Shang-Chi, or you don't draw it, or the opponent doesn't have something to actually Shang-Chi. Putting this card in a deck that just like incidentally destroys opponent's cards, like with Negasonic or Shang-Chi or Killmonger or something, like tech cards that you would play, I don't think Fenris is a good option there. So in the end, this card seems like it's only going to really go into 2 decks, and it's questionable if it's even going to be super good in those decks. All right, on to an example deck list. This is where I am trying Fenris to start. Like I said earlier, it's a discard deck. You got Scorn, Blade, Morbius, Swarm, Colleen, Gambit, and the change up here is the top end. We have Moon Knight instead of like a Sif or something. We have Silver Samurai instead of where you would usually see Dracula. We have Black Bolt where you would usually see Modok, and Stature where you would usually see Apocalypse. Actually, I think this is going to be pretty good. I mean, Gambit and Moon Knight is both perfectly fine to have Fenris give you some value. You don't know what you're hitting with those cards. So yeah, it's going to be a little hard to judge how much power you're actually going to get out of Fenris. But just the discard package of Colleen, Swarm, Morbius, Blade, Scorn is going to be solid. some free power. You have disruption between Bolt, Silver Sammy, and Moon Knight. This card is really going to screw over the opponent a lot of times. And on the last turn of the game, you go like a 1 energy stature, a bunch of free swarms, a scorn, maybe play out like one of the discard cards you haven't played out yet. It's cool. I think the last turn with a deck like this is going to be super explosive, super cool. And yes, Silver Samurai and Black Bolt aren't the best with Fenris, but it's the highest power card. So even if you like Gambit and Moon Knight into Silver Sammy, into Black Bolt, really you can count on Fenris only bringing back whatever Gambit and Moon Knight hit, rather than just discarding something crappy with the Silver Samurai and getting that back. That's like a worst case scenario, so I don't think it's going to happen too often. But this, I think, is a solid place to try Fenris. All right, on to my recommendation on whether or not you should actually use your resources to get Fenris Wolf. So as far as tokens go, I would say don't, just wait, even if you are excited about the card. If you're questioning Fenris whatsoever, don't immediately use tokens to get Fenris. I would wait a couple of days, see if Fenris has the impact that I think it might have in the archetypes that it's good in. Go to snap.fan, check some of those win rates on Fenris, and see if the card's actually good or not. I mean, maybe I haven't made this clear enough in this video, but Fenris could be like really good, it could be really bad. I won't be surprised either way. So yeah, tokens wait and see. As far as keys and opening spotlight caches go, this is where it's a lot easier. If you don't have Annihilus, a whole archetype revolves around Annihilus. It's not being used too much in the meta right now, but if you get Annihilus, you get an entire archetype, which is sweet. And Werewolf by Night is a solid 3-drop. When it's good, it's absurd. The metagame isn't quite right for Werewolf by Night right now, but I think getting Annihilus and Werewolf by Night is a smart idea. And you also maybe get Fenris. No, you will get Fenris, but you maybe get Werewolf and Annihilus. My point is, if you don't have Werewolf or Annihilus or both, use 4 to try to get all of them. I don't think you'll be upset at all. All right, that's the video. Thanks for watching. Later.